Hey everybody, we're back with Stump the Chump. No, talk to an expert and find out his opinion on some stuff. And what we do, as you know, is we just take a question that comes to us every month. And Kevin's joining us. Kevin, give us. I'll get to the question in a second. Just reintroduce yourself to everybody if you don't mind.
Yeah, we'll do. So again, my name is Kevin Roman. I'm the Director of Professional Services and Software Solutions for Canon USA.
And if
Awesome.
you, I learned something new about Kevin, even though I think we've known each other a long time now. If you're mad at Kevin, you can call him Dwayne, right? But
Oh,
only if you're mad at him. And
yeah.
if you're mad at me, you can call me Everett, so that we can both go with that. So
Mm.
our question today, and I know why this puzzles everybody, and I know, and it's almost an unsolvable problem,
Mm.
Kevin, is what is the role of PS in a big organization? Is it for the client,
Mm.
success? Is it to pull through product and differentiate us and be the tip of the spear? Is it for revenue and margin? Is it all the above? Is it oscillating depending on who your boss is that day or what the company's strategy is that day or if it's Tuesday? So if you don't mind, kind of, you've experienced all this. So kind
Yeah.
of introduce us a little bit to your thoughts on that.
Yeah, it's obviously a very thought provoking question because um, it truly evolves depending on where we're at in a business cycle, right? In a business cycle, business year, a strategy. When we look at that, so when you look at professional services, um, from my perspective, I want to start with that. From my perspective, we are very much focused on the customer. But what does that really mean? So that means that we're going to do the right things at the right time for our customer to allow them to really achieve the benefit of the relationship, the partnership that we have. But that doesn't mean that from a company perspective, that we're not also looking at what's in it for us, right? So it's both ways. It's really a balancing act. On an ongoing basis, we balance those two, but ultimately, the customer, we're very customer focused because we want to make sure that we are driving value. And that value may be in product, it may be time to value on how we service them. At the end of the day, those are the key areas. Now, what makes those things change? Obviously, the environment that we're in, specifically today, we're seeing a lot of contention back and forth on, what are these, I hate to get political, but what are these tariffs doing to the business? What is it doing to our customers? What is it doing to us? And how do we balance those and do it in a way that is effective and efficient? So from a professional services standpoint, our main goal is to deliver consistent value through a partnership between our customers and the company to make sure that we're both being put in a position of success. And I think that's the key. It's not about us being successful as a company. It's not about just the customer, because I look at everything kind of like a three-legged stool, right? So a three-legged stool, if it's right for the customer, but not right for the company, that may work okay today, short term, but it's not long-term success. And then finally, the third leg is, what's right for the people that are actually delivering on this mission. And when you take all three of them, you can balance those. You're going to have a nice, steady foundation, and you're going to deliver ultimately to the mission that we all are here for. So,
Yeah, man, Kevin, that was very well stated. Let me dive in a little bit
sure.
on some of the pressures that, as you said, we might feel over different times.
Mhm.
Sometimes the companies will have what we would call a halo effect that's measured. What are
Mhm.
the accounts that we're pulling in more product into, right? And they'll get some freedom to act as they see appropriate because they can say, although I'm not a big business, I'm
Yeah.
driving a halo effect. But
Yeah.
also, how am I measured?
Mhm.
Am I measured on revenue and margin? Am I measured on growth? So take those two. Is there? Have you experienced the halo? Is it official, unofficial, and then
It is.
and don't get too personal on how you measure. We don't want to know how your wife measures you, but just
No.
maybe your division.
Yeah, yeah. We'll start with the halo effect. So it is real. So we do look at every customer and engagement very targeted. So what that means is today we may see one customer just a tad bit different than another, and we provide an extra level of, maybe it's service, maybe it's just the mechanics of how we execute for that customer is maybe elevated. So it is real. I see it. A matter of fact, I make these decisions every single day. Right? I don't make a decision. It's typically not. I always believe there's always a path to yes. Right? So when a customer asks me a tough discussion, or has a tough discussion, asks me to provide an answer, sometimes it's not really going to be a yes, but I don't have to say no either. So I always think there's a path to yes. And when we look at that path to yes, sometimes for certain customers, we're going to do a little bit more because of the situation we're in. So what drives that? What drives that is a lot of business decisions, right? Where we're at both financially with that customer, right? Because one customer may be more profitable than the other for us. It's real, right? Or the opportunity to actually drive a higher level of success with one customer because the future looks bright. We're going to continue to drive to that customer's future. And if that future looks bright, we're all in. We're all in. So you're going to see truly that halo effect in that case. So I think that's really where we focus when looking
Yeah,
at each.
and let me. I was talking to. I get called in by clients when they're having problems with consultants, right? Sometimes,
Sure.
and I'll leave their name out. But big company, and
Sure.
and this executive thought the way to manage the consulting firm would be like to, and it was an embedded group like yours in a bigger relationship, and
Sure.
he thought, and it is a he in this case, he thought if I negotiate them down, hold them accountable, hold their billings, I can get leverage on them. And I had to
Mm.
explain that really that money all goes out to people.
Yeah.
There's no margin like that. There's not, it's
Yeah.
not a product company. I said, you want margin with a consult, you want leverage the consulting firm, be great to them.
Yeah.
Yeah. To
Yeah.
be honest with them, tell them, talk to
Yeah.
them. You'll find them extremely accommodating, getting to yes, to your point. But if you treat them, they will begin to take you off of the prime
Yeah.
client. And we have to, you said this, we have to take care of our people,
Yeah.
right? If my people hate you,
Mm.
then, I'm sorry, this will never work, right?
Yeah.
And you've had to intervene in cases like that. But let's move, and I know we don't have that much more time, but let's move to how are you physically measured, or how are people physically measured every year? Is it margin and growth, or is it like we don't really care about that as long as everybody's happy?
Yeah, so the measurements are different for at different levels of the organization. Currently, we're measured on growth, and a lot of that's to do with we've done pretty good on the margin side. We've protected it to date. We've made it still effective for the customer to do business with us, and yet still protect that. So we're trying to now grow that business. So we're seeing growth is a very important part. We are seeing, though, more pressures toward margin, more so through inflation. A lot of the things are going on. Again, pressure maybe not hitting my organization, but it's hitting the customer because the customers, again, who we work for. So we have started to see that. But right now, growth is our measurement. And we're trying to grow every year, year over year. We measure against that. We knew we have a blip in 2020, right? 2020 kind of because of COVID kind of blipped down. So we always reflect back to 2019 and how do we continue to move the needle up past every year over and over growth from that
Yeah.
point on. So that's really where we spend our time. But we are seeing again. We've been pretty lucky on margin. We've done the right things for the customers and they've delivered, we've delivered, and it's been good. But I'm starting to see a little bit more pressure around margin, especially on my hardware side of the business, even though I deliver and execute in professional services, it matters because as I start seeing pressure on the hardware side, it actually starts affecting my side of the business. So it is definitely a thing to keep our eyes open because I think that'll shift as you would expect it would.
So Kevin, you're I don't want to say you're an old hand at this because I am an old hand and you're much younger than me. I mean, what are you like, 28, 29? Anyway.
Yeah, right.
So leave us with one piece of advice for all our PS leaders that struggle with these different times, different values, different things required of them. Am I for the client? Am I for my own profitability? Am I pulling through product? I mean, just, things to keep in there, kind of some, road
Yeah.
signs to keep in our heads.
Yeah. I first thing is just understand, and I think most of the leaders that I've worked with in the past understand this. It's um, things will change, right? Things will change, and you have to be ready for that change. And being part of that, just be prepared. Just understand, and I tend to think 2 or 3 steps ahead, and I think it's important to understand when that change is coming. Right? It's the old iceberg effect. It's too late when you hit the iceberg. But if you start thinking ahead of it, right? So what's the market doing? Be real in touch with your customer, because your customers will start telling you well in advance of where that iceberg is in their business, right? So that you could be prepared for it. And I think doing that and really taking that into account and bringing it back into your management team and to your individual contributors and making sure they understand this is what we're hearing, this is what we need to do, this is the things to prepare for. I would say, from a professional service management perspective, you got to be really in tune to where we're headed versus where you're at. I think where you're at, I think that's tactical. I think we all know where we're at. But I think the strategic side of really knowing where you're headed and doing that, encompassing the customer, encompassing your own business and the people, again, that three-legged stool will kind of drive to, I think, success at the end of the day in the organization.
Thanks so much, Kevin. And we look forward to seeing you again. And anyone, if you ever need to talk to Kevin or everything, just reach out to him. He's a wealth of knowledge.
Reach out. So
Yeah.
it's
Thanks,
awesome.
Kevin.
Thank you.